Hi there, this is Jill Renee Feeler, and I have permission from John Burgos, the creator of Beyond the Ordinary, to share this recording with you. I have an audio version for those of you that enjoy the podcast experience, and I do have a video version for those of you that like the video version with a caveat. John and I agreed, and he approved that he would do his recording on his side of Zoom from the Zoom recording that he was hosting. And then I did a screen recording using Camtasia, which is not ideal because what happens is with that Zoom recording or with my Camtasia recording of a Zoom call, and you'll see it, I'm constantly, I chose to add privacy blocks so that all the callers from the live call, that was quite a large attending group that attended live, their names are on it. Sometimes they show their videos, even though they're not being videoed, their video camera thing is on for the Zoom call. So I just wanted to go above and beyond and respect their privacy. So you'll see little gray blocks pop up. I mean, primarily you can see John or I if we're speaking, but there's just these annoying little blocks in there. So I apologize in advance to those of you that are watching the video. I'm getting a lot of very positive feedback about the call, how it felt. And for those that are signing up for the special offer, we've got an amazing group showing up in both of the packages. And it is a wonderful deal for anyone that wants a private session with me, and for anyone that wants to experience the brand new course materials that I received and created literally just the day before this call. This call that's recorded here. So enjoy the replay. I'm sharing this as a podcast. I hope you love it. I love what happened here. And we are in a new paradigm of spirituality and consciousness, enlightenment, and awakening. And I love to be a part of that. I'm honored to be a part of that alongside you. And if you haven't felt like you're a part of this new paradigm, then you may want to check out this interview and decide for yourself whether you want to maybe reconsider some things. Our spirituality and our consciousness should be easy and seamless. And in the way that it's shown to me, in the way that I experience it through my own connection and through the connection of many people that I meet and my growing audience, there is a much, much simpler way to feel, be, and know the infinite light of source energy that you are. And I would love to help you simplify it. Okay. All right. So you know where to find me. Here's the call. I hope you love it. John Burgos is like a brother. And if you don't know him, I think you will love him like I do. Yeah. Anyway, enjoy. And I hope you're doing well. I've missed the weekly podcasts in some ways, but really enjoying the balance in my life. So anyway, I love you guys. And here you go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Beyond the Ordinary Show, a special video interview with Jill Renee Feeler. And I understand that some of y'all may be seeing my video a little bit strangely as I move my hands around. I can see that shifting. And I was laughing with Jill. I had a soul retrieval that I did earlier this morning. And so I'm claiming that these are aspects of me coming back as strengths, as portals to be opened into the new realm. And what a wonderful way to integrate with Jill here and what she brings into conversation and how we get to expand together. Every time I'm with Jill, the conversation always seems to do this. It's wide, it's far reaching. There is an amplification that takes place within my awareness and my paradigm of truth that allows me somehow to reach a new level of consciousness that invites something new and an action taking ability, a feeling that perhaps I couldn't associate, quite look for, an inspiration to do something, or calling forward or remembering something that's within me. So it's going to be a phenomenal call, as always, with Jill. And again, to be able to do it in video, it's just such an amazing treat. So you're in for a fantastic, fantastic time. And for those of you all who are consider yourself healers that are interested in doing something with these gifts that have awakened within, to be of service to others, or you have a call to take that energy, to take your love and your motivation and share it with others. The special offer that we're going to get into later is going to speak to you so loudly. I'm excited that Jill is offering that, and also the opportunity to have a private session with Jill as part of the session special offer also. So we'll get more in detail about that a little bit later on the call. And with that, we're speaking with Jill about the next wave of spirituality. And again, Jill shares from a perspective that I would say I'll call her, she's spiritual rock and roll. She's like the rebel, and she will not hesitate to bring her truth, even if it ruffles feathers. But the important part of that is that it's based on truth. It's based on what is pouring forth from her, so that we can break the old paradigm, so we can release the words, the phrases, the actions that don't serve us anymore. We've been on those repetitive karmic cycles, and it's time to break free from those. If you're in them anywhere, then Jill is going to enlighten you. Right? And if you all are not familiar with Jill, let me tell you a little bit more about her. So Jill Renee Feeler invites us not only into another dimension of ourselves, but into another spectrum of our humanity. She is boldly setting the stage for the 21st century consciousness and spirituality, delivering new pathways for deep self-reflection, personal breakthroughs, and profound revelations that are insightful, liberating, actionable, and intelligent. Jill embodies inspired awareness, wisdom, and unconditional love that turn even the most popular spirituality and personal development teachings on their head, while also being lighthearted and entertaining. She offers her audience and clients clear, game-changing tools for bypassing self-sabotage, accessing transcendental layers of self, and living within your individual authority while supporting others in doing the same. And Jill, always fun and amazing to have you on here. Thank you for doing this video call with me.
Thank you so much for inviting me back on. I love to be on Beyond the Ordinary, and I love to do video. There's just so much more of our energy that comes through in a video format. I love to use videos in all my work, so thank you for saying yes to that, John. I appreciate it.
You're inspiring you for more of that, so I'm excited about that. So Jill, let's get straight into it. There's an awareness of a new wave, or the next wave of spirituality, and what are you seeing? What are you sensing? What's been illuminating through your awareness?
Okay. Yeah, let me just go deeper, because I feel like all of what I call my team, which is my expanded consciousness and the all that is, it includes many beings that we know, but I just like to call it my team for those that aren't familiar. But I feel like my team has a better way of explaining this. Let me go deeper within here. This group has done such a interstellar, amazing job creating new healing modalities, sharing healing modalities, receiving healing modalities. And there has been a limit that has been reached in terms of how much healing can be done, how much clearing can be done, how much light can be held with some of the current thought forms and teachings that have been in place for more than a few decades. What we've been doing with Jill for, well, really since the beginning, we asked her literally to not come into her spiritual giftedness through the present system of spirituality and consciousness. She literally came in like through a side door. So she bypassed a lot of the current thought forms and current energy structures and architecture, really sacred architecture related to how light is held. So we were able to bypass all the more mainstream and very, very popular teachings and offer her very different perspectives. One example would be Jill never used the Merkaba system. She always identified her energy field as a sphere of energy. That's just one tiny little example. But there's so many benefits to it. Although it may seem immaterial and irrelevant, it's highly relevant and highly material. Because of this way that we've always interacted with Jill, her light has been able to continuously, oh my God, I just felt that in my throat, sorry. Her light has been able to consistently purify in a way that allows her to be fully light while also being fully human at the same time. And we realize that we have never done. We've never really talked about some of the specifics about how we interact with Jill so that others can use that same platform and some of those same modalities. So the reason that we wanted to talk tonight and today about next wave spirituality is to help everyone access that same grace-filled, geniusly simple, timeless, and complete sense of wholeness that all human life forms have access to. It's no longer about how long anyone has been studying. That's a linear path. And we don't need that. Jill demonstrated that she never needed that linear, slow growth. You go through all these certain stages process. And what we've finally convinced Jill of is that no one needs to take the same steps. That some of the teachers and healers and participants in spirituality, some of the same steps that a group like this may have done decades ago and are still expecting others to have to take, those steps aren't even needed anymore. So were they valuable at the time? Maybe, hopefully, or they probably wouldn't have been done. That's great. But then those that are wanting more light and those that are newer to their awakening processes and those that are feeling stuck, there are fundamental reasons why they're getting stuck, and it's based on what we're calling these outdated teachings. Let's start there, John.
Wow. There's so much to unravel there. I want to get into the aspect of getting unstuck, but I want to back up just a little bit, something that you said about the purification process. Because a lot of times that can be construed as constantly having to work to clear, to purify.
Right.
And what does that look like in the new wave of spirituality?
Easy. Surprisingly easy, not effortful at all. And it is filled with grace. Literally filled with the grace of Source, of God, that all life has access to. This mechanization and overcomplication of spirituality has become very impressive and very daunting, but it's also, like we were talking about earlier, it's really unnecessary. So what it looks like, I love metaphors. Jesus is smiling. He's like, of course you do. I love metaphors. It would be like when you get in a brand new car and you can tell it's poorly designed with if you're using the outdated forms of spirituality. You actually, if you get in a well-designed car, you don't need a manual. Everything is just intuitive. You can sense and feel where everything is and should be, and then you just get in and drive, right? With the outdated teachings of spirituality that are still being very well worn, and it's not that they don't work, it's that there's a limiter. There's a capacity limit to it in terms of how much light you can hold in your humanness with those outdated structures.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And so how can we start noticing when we're interacting with the outdated structures, and what's the path to find that graceful, joyful way of into that purification process?
One of the ways that I share and offer my light as a teacher facilitator is through words. I have a master communicator structure to me, so everything I do involves language and words and metaphors and things like that. So let's talk about it, okay? The way to recognize when you're in the outdated pattern is, number one, you get frustrated easily and you feel like you can't move forward. So there's a feeling of feeling blocked and stuck and separate from Source, separate from your infinite self, separate from your light, like you're out of the sun. So that's one way to know that you're in the outdated program and you're having to think too hard. It shouldn't have to be that hard. How you get into it using the language, right? Because words are just energy containers, and I happen to use human energy, human language, and I happen to use the English language. It tends to work pretty well, though. Okay, so let's do this right now, okay? What if I told you, and I love the what if, I like how they're saying what if, because it's so non-threatening, and your light should not be threatening, right? What if I told you that your light is an always-on infrastructure, that you never needed to learn or know how it operated or know how to get back to it, because it's always there?
It'd be liberating. It's freedom.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So think of your inner light like the wiring, the electrical wiring in any modern day house that has light switches and things like that. You don't go in your house every day and be like, well, I got to figure out if the lights work today, right? It's always there. We've already perfected that. And the beautiful thing about your infinite light, it was never imperfect. The only thing imperfect is our sensation that it's not there, that it's not on. So all of these efforts and all of this time and energy and money, John, spent at trying to reconnect to the light is almost like rewiring your house every 2 days to get the structure in there. It's already there. We just haven't had, or most have not had, the simplicity of teachings that your light is always there. It was always there. Your soul is not unevolved. Your infinite self, the true infinite nature of you, which I call infinite self because soul has this outdated teaching, just ickiness to it in terms of the soul can be an old soul or a young soul and all this other just really outdated notions. Your infinite soul never had a birth date. You can't be a young soul or an old soul. The infinite self is beyond time. There was never a time when it wasn't. So our ability to completely reframe how we look at who and what we are as light in our humanness, that all life is, and have better explanations for why things happen the way they do, why we sometimes feel the way we do, why we sometimes act the way we do, why others act the way we do, can help us release all of those attachments to the outdated teachings that keep getting in our way and keep overcomplicating the light that we are.
What is it within us that that is required for that shift? Because again, especially we become very comfortable, especially in our society, if we're on the internet right now, listening to this call, whether you're on video or on audio, you probably have a cell phone or a laptop, you have electricity, you've got conveniences around, and we don't want to give up some of our comfort things. So how do we tap into those things that are really in alignment for that light, Jill, without having the fear that we're going to lose some of the comfort that we've created for ourselves? That was where that comfort maybe comes more of an egoic survival than a true way of living.
Right. Okay, let's see. How do we want to do this? Let me start here. One of my I have an undergraduate degree in business, and then I got my MBA, and one of my degrees is in economics. And there's a concept in economics called sunk cost. And sunk cost is the idea that just because you've been doing something or been investing in something or been a part of something doesn't mean you have to stay with it. If you reevaluate and decide that something is no longer worthy of your investment, no longer worthy of your time or your attention, a sunk cost says, just let it go. It's from the past. You don't need to keep dragging forward those commitments that you've made in the past. Oh, I just feel my shoulders getting lighter even at that. Everybody just really allow yourself to take a nice deep breath with me, please. Just because you may have some ideas and perspectives and maybe even curriculum, if you're teachers, if you're healers, etc., modalities, just because you've been using it in the past doesn't mean it's the latest, greatest thing. It doesn't mean there's not a better way to be our light, to be our wisdom, to be our wholeness, to access well-being and health and clarity. So we have to be willing to accept the notion of sunk cost so that we can step out, and it will feel uncomfortable for a lot of people. And I would suggest that for those that have been doing it longer a certain way, it would probably be harder. But it's also going to be more worth it, is what Isis just said. And the reason that it would be more worth it is that the before and after will feel so radically different.
That's wonderful, Jill. What are some of the ways that you help people break through the repetitive cycles, the comfort, habitual things that we do that keep us struggling, that keep us feeling like there's a glass ceiling and that we can't break out of it?
I help them by offering new stories. Most of the hang-ups and blockages, if you will, from ourselves, from the light that we are, right, is based on false storylines, i.e. distorted teachings that keep us from the feeling and acknowledging and living the light that we are. Not unlike eye shades. If you're asleep at night and you're like, I can't see the light, I can't see the light, take off the eye shades, right? It's right there. So that's my that's my favorite strategy. And Metatron's laughing. He's like, she's really good at it. Because the minute I hear somebody with a challenge, or, I'm having this problem with my light, or this problem with my healing practice, or whatever, I look at it and I can see right away the false storyline that's in there, that I help them with the eraser. And then I help them put in a new story that can help them access their light better. So one example of that, let's pick a super, super common one. A super common one is this thought form that I am here as a human because my soul is trying to evolve to a certain level of mastery or enlightenment. My soul isn't there yet, so I'm here as a student trying to work out things so that I can get more lessons, pass more tests, and then get to the next level, right? That entire structure is not only outdated, John, it's just wrong. So
initiation structure does not feel good to me either. Yeah. I've heard people talk about that, and I hear about that. It's like, what benevolence
I know.
Through such a test? Like, why would love do that to you? Really look back and feel into the origin of where this thought form is coming from.
Yeah.
And if it's punishing love, then maybe it's something to reconsider.
I love how you said that. Maybe it's something to reconsider. I agree. I agree. Put a bit of exclamation point on that. So, but it's hard because we don't know what we don't know. And that's why I get so excited. My team Ann and I get so excited to be here because your audience is so amazing. Their light is so bright. And we want to do everything we can to help them remove those barriers to the light that they are. And thought forms and outdated teachings are a big one. So let me give the real version, and because we just started with that the kind of before, the outdated, distorted one. So the real version, and this is a big one, and most people, and I just really am going to ask everybody before I say this, I really want you to tell your brain, your very, very intelligent brain, that it just may hear something for the first time that it's never heard before, that could be the breakthrough you've been waiting for your whole life. Okay, you ready? Now, the more confident your brain is, the more it's like indignant, like, I don't know. I don't think there's anything new this lady has to tell me, right? Let's just try. Should we just try, right? I'm smiling and happy and I'm non-threatening, okay? Okay, the real reason every single member of this conversation, no matter whether you are listening in live or in archive, the reason you are here, the reason you are incarnated right now as your oh so carefully designed you is to be the light of God as only you can be.
Yeah, receiving that. From receiving that. And what does that mean for y'all?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you interpret that in your story? How can you say, what if this is true? What if what Jill is saying, it's the absolute truth? What does that mean about me and the story that I'm choosing to create?
Yeah. So what we find consistently when we're sort of out there with new clients especially, and with new audiences and things like that, is that there are these really, really well told oral history stories about why things are a certain way, why we're here on the planet, all these things. And it's consistent that we're like, okay, that's the distortion, that's the distortion, that's the distortion, that's a distortion. So with so many distortions that beautiful, intelligent, savvy, wise individuals have been calling true, no wonder there's so much sensation of getting stuck. No wonder there's such, one step forward, two steps back sort of experiences that people feel. And your light infrastructure is infinite, and Earth includes infinity. Your humanity is not outside of infinity. So when I look at it again, because I came in through that side door, I look at the distortions. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense based on what I know. But I get that in the midst of all the other distortions, it's all these weird rationalizations. It's almost like, well, I'm not trying to throw my teenagers under the bus. My younger one is 14, and it is like a teenager trying to rationalize why they're late for curfew. It's just like, no, it's no.
Oh, that's funny. It's interesting, Jill, and I love your perspective around this. Again, we have a lot of people who are weight showers. Well, you all are, every single one of you are light bringers.
Yes.
All of us, every single one of us,
Yes.
whether you would do yourself one or not, just know that your light is shining the way for us to realize more of ourselves, and that you're a light bringer. It just goes across the board. That is an absolute truth for me. There's a lot of talk, especially in the community and the people that I work with, Jill, and I know you're familiar with a lot of them also, where they're claiming that they're here to be of service, and that they have a mission, and that they're only here to be of service, and this is what they're supposed to do. What's your take on that?
Are you talking about the types of people that don't accept their personal choice in the matter as their infinite self? Are you talking about those type of people?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
life is driven because of this calling of having to be a business.
Yeah. Okay. Metatron's like, he wants to just like go at it, and I'm like, okay, hang on, I don't want people to hate me. It's very opinionated about this topic, and he's like,
I have an opinion about it also. So
he's like, well, let me say it then. Okay, I'm just gonna let you say it. Not that I don't take responsibility for what comes through, but I think he's gonna be a bit on the edge of my comfort level here. Okay. Okay, so Thank you. He's like, Jill, sit down. Okay, I'm out of the way, I promise. Okay. What we've noticed is that the type of teachers, the type of way showers that that would even say something like that, it tends to come out, and channeled entities come across this way too. You can feel the condescension on some level of yourself. Sort of like when somebody says, oh yeah, I used to eat bread. Like, you loser. You know what I mean? It's like, you're like, they're ahead of you in some evolutionary timeline, and you're way back in kindergarten. And thank God we're here to help you little babies, figure this out. Because without us, you're really helpless, right? Okay, so we noticed that part. And then the other Metatron, chill. Okay. The other thing that we notice is that with some teachers, there is what Jill was referring to, the sense of, they tend to talk about it a lot. Well, I didn't really want to be here. I didn't need to be here. I'm a fully evolved soul, and I'm just here to help the rest of you. Again, there's this arrogance about it of, well, the rest of you needed to be here. I can see why you guys are here working on stuff, but I'm here I didn't even really want to be here. But I'm here to help. I wouldn't even want to hire that person at a soup kitchen.
Right? You don't want that energy going on.
No.
But what about those people that are really innocent in it, and they feel like their whole life is being directed by this thing of being of service, and their relations have to suffer for it, their income has to suffer. All these things get displaced because they are heeding what they're calling this higher calling of being of service. And it's almost like free will isn't even at hand.
Okay.
They can call it divine will, but it for me, when I see the suffering, what I interpret to be the suffering, and again, it's my interpretation of it, which is limited. What do you say, or what does Metatron have to say about that aspect of that sacrificial, what would seem like a sacrificial type of devotion to a message that they deem to see bigger than themselves?
Okay. Gandhi just said, this just got real. So Gandhi and the Buddha are sort of in cahoots here with this answer. We take partial responsibility for that. That in our interest and in our passion of trying to help people feel their significance and their worth beyond the material possessions and beyond their material body and beyond their mortal life even, there was this exaggeration of it. And Gandhi is just saying, let me let him say this. I totally did it as Gandhi. And frankly, the faith that I called my faith in my life as Gandhi is all over it in terms of, but it's in all the organized religions. So anyway, I perpetuated this as well, though, as Gandhi, because I gained such notoriety because of my piety, because of what I gave up, because of what I sacrificed. And then many on a path to enlightenment or a journey of self-reflection even felt like it was necessary to get rid of all material possessions or the big material possessions because they felt like they were getting in the way of their light. But what we've shown Jill from the very beginning is that nothing can get in the way of your light. Nothing can. This reality can't get in the way of your light. Your physical body can't really get in the way of your light. Material possessions, no matter how big or small, can't get in the way of your light. And many on a path to enlightenment have dematerialized their life only to find out that their light actually didn't grow. Their life became more simple and monastic naturally in the process, but that doesn't mean that their essence of light, or what Jill calls their light quotient, increased or their sense of personal connection to God. They may just have had less clutter, but it doesn't make your light value go up. So there's still this debris from some of these, again, outdated teachings. But the idea was good. Buddha and I both have, we can both justify why we did that. But what happens with the teacher's teachings and a human's experiment, which was my choice as Gandhi, that doesn't mean that everyone is supposed to do it that way, or that it is somehow out of alignment with light to do it another way. We really want, especially a masterful group like this, like you guys, to recognize the individuality and your individual sensation and personality and preferences and passions and desires and interests that are intentionally unique to each other. The idea of this one-size-fits-all, all enlightened beings narrowly funnel into this version of everybody eating the same things, everybody wearing the same things, it's so silly.
So what's the soul's purpose? What's the human's experience here? Why are 7 billion of us here having this experience?
Metatron is accusing you of a very loaded question, John. He just said, well, you'd have to ask the 7 billion people. Okay. But in general, yeah, that's the origin. My daughter taught me, my older one that loves Marvel movies and games and things like that. She taught me that there's a term called origin story. I call it cosmology, but she calls it origin story. So let's offer the origin story in general. And yeah, okay. And I'm like, how are we going to do it this time? Because it is a very fun topic, and I do encourage people to drop, though, into their heart space. So can we do this as an activation, John? It feels good. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay,
Yes.
So I'd like to welcome people into just relaxing their body. If you're not driving and not walking, close your eyes, okay? If it's safe to do so, please close your eyes. Put a smile on your face. Take some nice, slow breaths. We're going to intentionally be funny here. It's not that source energy is a hoarder, but source energy, which includes all of you as your infinite self, loves to be curious about what else can be done, felt, made, everything. There's this beautiful, loving, inspired curiosity of all of us as source energy. You all just happen to be within a reality as an extension, not in time as an extension, but in an iteration of your infinite self. You're currently called a human. You're currently on Earth. That's such a fun topic, that you're on something. Space-time is great. And the way that your experiment, if you will, the curiosity that became Earth and became life on Earth and became humanity, stemmed from an original question of, what would it be like if we didn't know what we were? We created a reality. We includes you. A reality where we can experience ourselves in a very, very different way than we normally experience ourselves. That curiosity inquiry led to space, time, solar systems, galaxies, stars, all of it ended up in the reality that you know of as your reality. There are some very scientifically gifted humans on the planet right now that are suspicious that you are living in a simulation. But it's not a computer simulation. And it's not that it's not real, but that perspective actually works pretty well, because in a simulation, there doesn't have to be one mission. There doesn't have to be one goal. Every player can have its own virtual reality, their own experience, their own objectives, that can change within the simulation, within the experience. So it's not that it's not real. That wouldn't be fun. And as creator energy, we can do better than that. We can do far better than a holographic reality. Come on. So the physicality is real, but it has to be comprised of ingredients that make it feel undeniably real to the participants within it. It's a masterpiece on that level. And because of the way that free will was designed, because of the wide range of consciousness that each of you experience every day with your fellow humans and fellow life forms, right? There is such a wide spectrum of experience. And that's part of what makes it so great. Free will on Earth allows for, however, a dark side, if you will. And the way that Jill describes it is Earth in a lot of ways is like toddlers running with scissors. It's important to be wise. It's important to be savvy. It's important to be suspicious of your fellow humans. It's completely accurate to know at a core level that all life is infinitely and essentially light, and that your light is also currently comprised in a very complex, highly advanced yet very mysterious structure called humanity. The idea that science, and you guys have already said, heck no to that. But the idea that scientists believe that humanity is just flesh and bones and just the material aspect is hilarious to us. We're not laughing at them in a demeaning way. We're laughing at the fact that humanity can be demystified just with the 5 human senses and in science and the medical establishment and so forth. But none of that fooled you guys. You guys are too wise and too smart for that. So the origin story that we offered you there should be very helpful in terms of answering the very wise and very deep and loving question, John, that you asked, which is, why are we all here? What is this? Hopefully we scratch the surface a little bit on your very intriguing question.
Not only scratch the surface, but broaden awareness again, the masterpiece aspect of it. Going beyond the smoke of the hologram that we can just push aside like it didn't exist. And giving value to that. Right. Not just intellectually, but it comes from an eminence of emotions that are a display of something else that we're capable of functioning from. It's beautiful.
As you say that, John, I'm just speaking here as Jill now, I realize that I get really offended. I get personally offended when people kind of demean humanity or say, well, this is just a holographic reality. Nothing's real. And I'm just like, that's not true. I get really mad. I'm just like, it takes all the, this place is so freaking amazing. Even, oh God, the whole thing just, I get so excited. It's just so amazing. That doesn't mean I love everything here. Of course not. Hello. There's a lot not to love. I get that. But the majesty of it. And then, when people demean the ego, oh, the ego, you're operating out of ego. But I get it. I've learned from some of my very savvy clients and friends, clients/friends, that we're using ego in a very different way. So anyway, so we don't need to go into that unless you want to, but there's different terminology we use, etc., that can make it seem like we're disconnecting when really we're just calling it something different. But we have to have a story. So to me, the definition of ego is the storyteller. And if you kill your storyteller, you're screwed. It's like the software that operates everything.
Well, it's a way to compartmentalize something and to amorphize something so that we can put it in the box and give it a certain character.
Yeah.
But if we make the ego the villain, where's the good part of that animus within us that is living? It's not just the hologram.
That's right.
It's not just the human.
Yeah.
There's something else that's animating us that if we start making all these little check marks for all these different parts of us, then what's left and what's really creating this light, that's creating this form, that's creating this experience.
Exactly. Well said.
Wow, Jill. There's so much going on here.
You
know what I want to do?
Yeah, what do you want to do?
Yeah, let's get into the special offer, all of it. It's Jill's bringing in. And I want to go into also what's next in spirituality, like what's evolving. And I know you cover, and you're going to go into some of that through your special offer. So whoever decides to go deep with you, it's just, wow, what's going to be received. And I'll just leave it at the innocent wow. And the private session with Jill, if y'all have never had one, it's like phenomenal, amazing. And y'all who have, you know what I'm talking about. And then there's a second special offer, especially for you who are being called to share your wisdom, your energy, this discovery within you with other people. It's a beautiful package. So everybody, I highly encourage you to click on the special offer button that's on the webcast page, or you can go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Jill21, and it'll take you to that same page. And I'm going to see if I can, if my computer allows me to share my screen. I will, so that y'all can follow along here also. Let me see if it's, or type into your web browser, beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Jill21. And Jill, guide us through what everybody's going to receive by going deeper with you here.
Okay. Very good. All right. So what we're going to do in the series, and I do want you guys to know, I channeled it yesterday. And I have to say that some of my favorite offers on John's show were ones that were so timely and so freshly created. So this is one of them. I've loved everything that we've offered, but this one is extra. Okay. So we're calling it the Transcending Time Activation Series, because one of the main origin story upgrades is helping us connect with the version of ourselves that is literally beyond space, beyond time. That is a huge upgrade. And I will help you with that, with language and thought forms and perspectives and upgrades and before and afters and things like that. Okay. So in the series, let's go through the items. Well, I should talk about the packages first. Sorry, I'm a little excited. So I was led to create 2 different packages this time. What I used to do is that I'd have one package with a special offer and one package without a special offer. I'm learning, you guys. It was clear that the special offer with the private session was the one everyone wanted. So what we did this time, we have 2 different offers, 2 different packages, and they both have the 30-minute private session. So everybody gets a private session. That's part of this. And of course, it's deeply discounted because that's what we do on the telesummits. We make really fun decisions with money to give you really good deals. Okay, so there's one package called the Platinum package, all right? And then there's another package called the Professionals package. The Professionals package, oh my God, no, there's a very large portion I know of this audience, and I know of my regular audience too, that are also in the biz as healers, intuitives, psychics, readers, therapists, ministry. We're all over the place, you guys. And by offering a separate package for my fellow practitioners, we were able to offer in sort of like the teacher notes and special suggestions and special content in addition to what we're doing in the Platinum package. The other thing with the Professionals package, for those of you that are fellow practitioners, or, we're not going to block anybody from that isn't in the biz from purchasing the Professional package, but it's the regular content plus a lot of kind of like professors talking to each other kind of thing, clinical kind of talk to each other kind of thing. And we're going to have 2 practitioners group coaching sessions, live calls in the Professionals package. All right. Okay. So those are the differences in the 2 packages and the items within it. Okay. So the first item is the 30-minute private session. The second item is, you guys are going to love this. It's a 45-minute video or audio format. You have the choice of both. Introductory meditation and message. And that's beginning the attunement of your human consciousness with your infinite self's vibrational frequency. Yes. Okay. That's item 2. Item 3 are pre-activation resources. And those are 3 things. There's 3 components of that in the Platinum package that help those that are newer to my work sort of acclimate to the way we do things, the way we talk about things, and some really, really fascinating recent material. And for those that are already part of my work, it'll be just a refresh for you, but we still recommend experiencing them again. One of them, by the way, is time and creation of linear time. Whoa, that's fascinating. Okay, and then item 4 is the Golden Ray activation set. That is a 45-minute video or audio for the Platinum package and an hour for the Professionals package, because again, it has extra. There's the Platinum Ray activation that is an hour video and audio. And then item 6 is different activations related to the Egyptian mystery schools. Because, John, some of your audience may not know that we did a client trip to Greece in October. We did a Zion, Utah retreat in October, at the end of October. And then we did a 2-week trip to Egypt, our second round to Egypt. You were with me the first time, not even 6 weeks ago. I was in Egypt. All of them have there's an owl outside my house. Yeah. There is an element of timelessness, time travel, portal, entry into space-time related to all 3 of those places. And that highly affected what we're doing in this series. And I couldn't leave out some of the specific activations related to the Egypt trip. So item 6 for everyone, no matter what package, includes a Sphinx activation, which is a major Stargate system underneath that lying lion of stone and crystals. There's a Goddess Isis activation. There's a Temple of Horus activation and an actual Horus activation. All right?
Wow.
And then in the Professional package, the extra item are the 2 practitioners group calls. How did we do explaining it, John? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How do you explain that?
I'm sorry, what was that?
How do you explain that?
Explain what? The owl?
No, the special practitioners training.
Oh, this in terms of the group coaching session, do you mean? Yeah. So in the practitioner training, it's about allowing for, there are different questions that my fellow practitioners will be asking. And we do expect that there will be a large portion of the takeaways that the practitioners have that they will benefit from some dialogue about how they shift away from their previous way of doing their work. I mean, I know teachers, I'm friends with teachers, that their whole system is based on Merkaba. And we're saying, please don't use Merkaba anymore. Use a sphere. but everything that they do is about the Merkaba and the Merkaba and the Merkaba. So this is we want to offer that support because we want you to feel the light in this newer way so that you benefit from it and all of your client work benefits from it. It is so much better. You guys, literally, it would be like buying a 1970, Toyota Corolla versus a Tesla. It's so different.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just huge. So it's
so big.
So Jill, in the 30-minute sessions with you that they get also, what can that be used for?
The 30-minute session, with every 30-minute session, we share for the first 1/3 of that time. So I don't know anything about you. I don't want to know anything about you. It's actually better for both of us in our human layers to not have that information, so that your team and my team, mainly your team, can share how we see you. That first third is about helping you further anchor to your infinite self energy. That's how we do private sessions. And then the other 2/3 is whatever you want to talk about. Tricky relationships, family energy patterns that feel like they keep getting in your way, health issues. I mean, there's just anything that you feel is blocking you from your light, we want to go there. And it's really fun with repeat clients because even though I keep thinking, oh, we covered it all, there's always something new to cover. There's always another layer of revealing the brilliance and the inner, just the glory of the light that we are. We make it so hard to be here, and I totally understand why. And I get so excited about helping people, like reaching out a hand and just be like, oh, no, let's help you remember where your light is. Let's help you remember it's there. And then let's help kind of clear away some of the distortions to see it more clearly for what it is. Help you see yourself more clearly. And then you can operate very differently in this world in all factors of your life. Professionally, personally, in your love life, with your children, with your parents, with your neighbors, with your pets, with yourself.
Yeah, and again, the clarity that comes through having a session with you, and it can be channeled information. It can be very direct and but there's so much illumination that seems to stream through. And again, it's such a beautiful gift of awareness and also an amplification of what's possible, and to tapping into that light quotient that's already within you. Exactly. And remembering how to turn on the lights, if you will.
Yeah, I like how you said that. And John, I mean, we know each other in that way. And I record every single session. It allows, and I've done that from the very beginning when I first got started in, 2010, that I realized I'm an MBA and all of this, oh my God. So I record everything, and I love hearing from clients. They'll send me an email that, I had my last session with you was 15 months ago. I just listened to it again, and oh my God, it's still good. I still heard something new. And it felt good that I'd worked through something else, and now I have more questions and I'm booking again. So it's just, we're quite a riddle here in our humanity, and I love to be part of that support system without being a crutch. Because see, I'm not playing that game, you guys. I'm not playing the game of, oh, you don't have your light yet. Oh, let me help you go get it. No. You don't go get your light any more than you go get lights on in your house when you're already wired for it. Yeah. So I don't play games, and I will call out the games that you may be playing, even if you don't realize you're playing it, which John, you talked about before, because although we're extremely passionate and very opinionated, that doesn't mean we're judgy about those that have these distorted beliefs. We really feel like they just don't know there's the Tesla that they could be driving instead of the 1970 Toyota Corolla. I don't even think Toyota was in business in 70, by the way. Were they? I know Honda was. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I was trying to think of what it was before Toyota, and I'll think of it. It's a Datsun.
Oh, Datsun! I'm old enough to know Datsun. Yeah.
which means I'm older than 2000 also. There you go. We're just reveal our ages in linear time.
There we go.
It's so wonderful. Y'all, the special offer of Jill, package A is $177, and that includes a 30-minute session with Jill. And then to go into the practitioner's training, you go deeper into it. You get the live calls, also, again, the professionals package. I'm excited that you're doing this, Jill, and this is so needed in this perspective. It's $427 and 2 payment option on that as well. And again, includes a session with Jill. And Jill, just one more time, reiterate what compelled you to do this professionals package. Yeah. Why did you?
You're welcome, Stan's host. You were the dentist.
What's happening? Can we mute beautiful cat? Although I want to hear that conversation. I think I heard children.
2 minutes.
Cat,
3 seconds.
Let's see if we can mute cat here. Hold on a second.
Okay.
So I want to mute cat, but not mute you, Jill.
Okay. Oh wait, it's okay.
Here, I'm going to mute her and then unmute yourself.
Okay.
All right. Give me a second.
And Jill, there we go.
Okay, very good. By the way, the owl is still hooting in my backyard. I'm totally digging this. Okay. All right, so the professional package, why are we doing this? We're doing this because it matters. By having a special package, a special conversation with our fellow practitioners, we are able to upgrade these light architectures that we operate, which we call thoughts and beliefs and perspectives, for a wider number of people. So it is very strategic on our part that by interacting with practitioners on an even deeper, more interactive level, this version of light should spread, not like a virus, should spread like good sunlight, right? When it's, breaking at dawn, it should reach more people. So it's very strategic on our part, given that we want every human to know the light that they are, and they can still be a jerk and we won't judge them. It's Earth. Weird things happen, right? Sometimes you're the toddler running with scissors. It's okay. That's what the grace is for, right? Anyway, so this option that we have for the professionals, the reason we're doing it is that, I didn't want to say that, but Isis is like, let me say it. From the very beginning of Jill recognizing her gifts, practitioners have sought her out. It is normal for her, even when she first started doing readings. Okay, John, I'm going to step in here because something really weird happened just this not too long ago. My parents had friends over that they've known my parents since before I was born. And they were asking about my work a little bit. We were just talking. And my dad, after I told my version, said, I knew it was serious when her husband, since Jeff and I have been together since 88, and then we got married in 93. My dad said, Jeff went with Jill to a wellness festival in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And Jeff basically was there to help her out in, like a helper in any way, can I get you lunch, honey, that kind of thing. And Jeff told us that as other people were the day was wrapping up at the festival, every other person that had a booth came over to get a session from Jill.
Wow.
I have goosebumps all over me because I didn't know that Jeff had told them that story, and I had forgotten that happened, because for me that was my norm, was that practitioners recognize that I have a different essence of light. I want to say it. I'm not saying better, right? I have a different flavor of ice cream on the menu that they like. They don't know why they like it, and they know that there's a different version of light and truth and perspective and problem solving and alchemy, activations, everything. They can sense it because they're pros too. They sense it in me. So this is the first time I've actually, this feels weird to talk about me as me. This is the first time I've ever really acknowledged that there is a huge part of my business that are with people that are in the business. I mean, John, I told you that when you first invited me onto the telesummit, and I didn't know what a telesummit was because that wasn't my world. And then I was like, this looks cool. Who else is on here? I had clients that were speakers on, I'm like, oh, that's a client, that's a client, that's a client, that's a client, that are speakers on your summit. And I was like, and I fell in love with you. I'm like, this is a soul brother, right? So I'm like, yes, I'm in. And to know that that what you created here is there for this version, this, I want to say different version of Ice Cream Light, makes me extremely happy.
It makes me happy as well. And even this part of the conversation takes me back to the beginning of our conversation, where there's a shift in paradigm, there's a shift of awareness and perspective that can't help but to, whether we agree with that perspective or not as we interpret it at the time that we receive it, it's an impetus for change and growth in different ways. And part of what you bring in, the way that you translate, the way that you see and share it for us to receive, provokes a shift in our direction. It provokes a shift in or movement in those places in our lives or habitual patterns that are ready to break into a new perspective, a new paradigm of experiencing itself in another version of that amplitude of light that's available.
Yeah.
So amazing. I'm glad you're offering this.
Thank you.
It
feels really good. It feels really good. I felt like it felt a little ballsy when I did it. And then the more I felt a professional version, I'm just like, yes, exactly. Because we're all professional light. It's not about that. It's that there is a very different conversation when you tell somebody that, and like is using the Merkaba system as one example, right? Or using past lives to understand present self or to understand soul. Those are all very outdated. There's a better way to do it. How about that? And I recognize that. The Buddha just said, when you say outdated, they're probably going to get like, well, no one wants to feel outdated. And I appreciate that. And I do feel like the words came through better in the actual series. Because I mean, John, you know me, and there's a lot of, people that know me on the call already. I just want you to know the light that you are. That's what I really want more than anything. I want all of your clients to know that. I want everyone listening to a call like this to know that. I want every person on the planet to know that. It was so easy for me to awaken, recognize my light. I want it to be that easy for everyone. So this idea that somebody comes across my work and they tell me, I've been doing this since 1960, Jill, and I took one course of yours and I get it. And they're pissed, John, because they're just like, how is it possible that I was wrong for all of these years? And I'm just like, no, you weren't wrong. It was so different. The energy was so different at that time. And I include it in this series, and I want to put it right here. Thank you to everyone that was being your light when it was not as easy as it is right now, when all there was the 1970 Datsun, right?
For sure.
You've got the Tesla option now, okay? So I want you to drive the Tesla. I really, really do. It's an amazing car.
I love that you're using the car analogy, because for me, the analogy is that, many of us have been Ferraris driving in third gear, and it's been a great ride in third gear. It's like, wow, this is amazing. Look at the sports car. It's beautiful. And look how fast it goes. And then someone comes along and says, hey, by the way, do you know there's 2 more gears you can play with?
Exactly. Yeah, that's good.
It's in the fourth, and you're like, whoa, I didn't know this was possible. Hold on a second. How did I not know that there was a 4th gear and a 5th? Really? I'm not sure if I'm ready for 5th yet, but let me play with 4 for a little bit. I'm trying to get acclimated until I want to, get a little more risky with my foot on the pedal.
Right.
And that's what's happening. That's what's being illuminated. It's like you're all Ferraris. And you just don't know which gear you're functioning from, and that perhaps there's just another gear, another octave that's available to you. And Jill's that quantum mechanic, if you will, that comes in and shows you. It's like, hey, by the way, just shift over to the left just a little bit here. watch that perspective and then see how your vista changes, the things that you can experience and feel by just going to this little place, by having this little shift in the perspective of what's available. So fun. And it really can be that innocent, Jill.
Yes. It's not, I mean, you know me, John, we're both Pisces, right? We're just the ultimate diplomats. And there's a lot of, I want everyone, no matter how long you've been doing this, no matter how much I'm talking about your maybe beliefs and truths and practices, and you may feel picked on, what I really want for you to know is that there is something better, and you're going to like it better. It is easier. And again, that's the coaching session part of the practitioner series is so important, because as a group, there's very common things that come up. And even, I mean, John, I know you know this in your work too, because you have a high, I'm intuiting here that a high degree of your audience is also fellow practitioners, right? True? True. Okay. So what we find is that even in a private session with somebody that has, they run retreats, or they're a yoga teacher or a Reiki master, or, the examples are endless, that when they talk to me and they're in the midst of their team dynamic, they say things, and then their team says, she's not saying that, or he's not saying that to his audience or his clients. And then I'll say to them, like, are you going to say this at the retreat in Vietnam this weekend? And they're like, no. And then they say things like, well, they're not ready for it. Or they kind of they freeze because they don't know what to say, that their current paradigm is different than what they're teaching. And that is awkward. And I completely respect that. And I love to help with that. Because and I think all of us can agree, what we are craving so much is authenticity. Really, right. Just authenticity. If I make a mistake on my website or something, I want to be able authentically to go, I'm so sorry. You're right. I have the wrong link there. I'm so sorry. Let me fix that for you, right? Versus, no, nothing to see here. The link is fine. I don't know what you're looking at. What the heck,
Speaking of links not working, for some reason the special offer link wasn't working for a few of y'all. If you refresh the live page, where you listen to the call from and click on the special offer button again, you should get through to Jill's offer. Now it's working. We've tested it. That's why it seemed a little distant there for a second, Jill. We're working, no problem.
Oh, got it. Okay. You were asking me to fill time. Okay. Got it.
But y'all can also go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Jill21 and it'll take you to the same page. And Jill, let me ask you also, it's the platinum package. If it's not a professionals package, if someone's new to this type of work and some of the vernacular that we're using, is this still appropriate for them, or do they have to have some basis understanding in the languaging that we speak?
They're good. I promise. Because it is, with the master communicator, and John, I know you as a master communicator too, as one of your archetypes that you brought in with you, with the master archetype, my master communicator archetype. That's hilarious that I couldn't say that. As a master communicator, I'm like, yeah, not taking myself too seriously. That's good. I can laugh at myself. What we're doing, these words are just containers of energy. So even if there is a word or different language or something like that, it's the energy that this is all about. So if your head is like, when she says this, does she mean this? Just literally email me or put it in the comment section, even better, of the series page. Just type in a question. I see all the comments that come through, right? So even in the platinum package, if you are new to my work or new to awakening, oh my God, you guys, I'm going to save you decades and possibly tens of thousands of dollars. Yeah. I'm not lying. What some people have invested in their spirituality, they could go to Egypt with me 10 times in 1 year. Or Peru with you, John.
From Peru, yes.
Right? Anyway, so this, so it is welcome to everybody. And the platinum package, I love to kind of pluck people out of the long line to reassess their light and to feel activated in their light, and get them in the short line, get them in the VIP lane where everything happens fast and you're like, oh my God, I didn't realize it could be this fast. Wait, shouldn't it take longer? Well, yeah, then stay in the long line. But you know what? There's people in the long line that have been there decades and they still don't know their light, or at least they don't act that way.
That's wonderful. Again, everybody, special offer link should be working now. Click on the special offer button or go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Jill21. Again, the platinum package includes everything in that package plus 30-minute session with Jill. With the professionals package, there's also includes the group calls. And for the price, Jill, it's what you're offering. Again, it's such a small investment for the ability to exponentially move forward and again amplify that light quotient with the wiring that you have, which is divinely perfect. You don't have to rewire. You don't have to take all the bugs out of there. You're so ready to be lit up in places that you're not even aware that you're ready to be lit up. And Jill, I know, is going to shine the light on those places and show you what's possible. So y'all take advantage of that special offer.
It's a great deal. I mean, I just want to mention that even with the platinum package at $177 USD, a 30-minute private session for me is $115.
Yeah.
I mean, just the private session part. And then for the extra incremental, you get all of that material. It's just like, oh my God. Yeah, it's a, that's what we do on the telesummits. We give amazing deals.
Yeah, it's gifting. It
feels good. The generosity feels really, really good. Yeah. And I love a fair exchange. Like I said, I'm an MBA and all those things. And I love to help practitioners with fairly valuing themselves too. And that actually, that's right. Metatron just said that came up in that session in the professionals version extra, I think with the platinum package. We did touch on pricing and value and some tips there as well.
Wow. So wonderful. So again, there's a special offer. Y'all, we're going to run the replay of the video call and you'll be able to listen in audio again. We're not done though. I just want to leave that out there. Some of y'all joined late. We let you into the room a little bit later. So know that you'll be able to come back and access just all the wisdom and the energy that's being transmitted on here today. Now, Jill, we talked about, we're talking about the next wave of spirituality. Is there ever not a next wave?
No, there would never not be a next wave, right? I mean, because of the origin story, I just love that term, by the way. I just high-fived to my child, V. It's an origin story, Mom. Like, yes, okay, we need a better origin story. Because of the origin story that we already covered, there's this nature and essence of source energy as kind of constantly iterating, right? And, well, what about this? And what about that? What if we did this? And what if we did that? So by nature, we are source energy, you guys. By our nature of constantly wanting to improve and make things better for others and hopefully make things better for ourselves too, that by design, we are what makes... Oh, that's so good. I love that. It's not an outside force that creates a next wave of spirituality. You guys, it's us. It doesn't happen to us. It happens by us. I wanted my own enlightenment journey to be straightforward, rational, intelligent, and extremely satisfying. And mind-blowingly supernatural. I've never been disappointed.
Wow. Yeah, and there it is. So how do we go beyond the practices of working for the spirituality, doing the things that we're prescribed to do? Again, adhering to some of the old methodology that we've been entrained with, and being more in the flow and the wonder and the awe of it. And also really knowing that we're taking the lead in the creation of it as well.
Yes, very well said. Well, there's two different ways to do that. One is by developing a questioning nature, okay? Some people are less questioning by design, right? Some of you guys are the ones that, listen to everything the teacher said and say, yes, 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 ma'am, yes, sir, and you just followed along like the nice little ducklings, right? And the wise ducklings in this case, right? And then some of us were like, well, I don't know. That doesn't sound right. I don't think I agree with that, right? I'm one of those, right? So it's perfect that I'm that way, given what I do and how I receive what I do, because I question everything, right? And it's not a debate. There's not a winner and a loser. Is that true? Are we sure that's true? Why do we think that's true? Let's look at this again. Let's look at this with fresh eyes and fresh light, right? So one is by developing a questioning behavior. If you don't naturally have a questioning behavior, it's great to hang out with somebody that has a questioning behavior. And believe me, when you're in a private session with me and I'm questioning you, I do it like this, by the way. I'm like, I don't know. And then I'll kind of go, what if? And I'll say it super lovingly and very diplomatic and ready to giggle with you when you have this aha moment of, oh my God, right? It happens every day in my work, every single day, right?
Well, we've done that on stage together, which I really appreciate, because I would say something and Jill would question and she'd bring in, and I don't know if I see it that way. And I loved it because it would make me go question within myself, to go deeper into the truth, because a lot of times I find that some of our stuckness is because we're so used to hitting that first level.
Yeah.
But there's 4 levels down to go to get to a place that gives you that pinnacle expansion, if you will, at that moment.
Exactly.
Like that questioning aspect that you do so beautifully and so lovingly, but it also challenges.
Yeah.
Which I love, because like, oh, hold on a second, I didn't think of that. And we have to be okay. This is big for a lot of y'all. It was big for me for a while. I had to be okay with being wrong.
Yes. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I talk about that. Actually, that's funny. I talk about that in the series too. I definitely used to be one of those people that was really, I felt like my value was part or wholly based on my accuracy and my ability to be right. I can help you right out of that. If any of you are in that.
But it's liberating. It's sovereignty. Being sovereign doesn't mean that you're right all the time. Being sovereign is that you're constantly searching for your own truth, regardless of your environments, and you're aligning with that which is emanating from your light.
Ooh, you got me all going now, because sovereignty, and we talked about this actually in one of the professional package parts too, related to scientists. What we all have in common is our insatiable desire for truth. And as long as we can hang out in that space of wanting to know and be a part of what's true, then we're good. Now, here's another, and I want to see outdated teaching, but I did hear the Buddha when he said that doesn't always sound good to somebody. Okay, let me find new words then. To somebody that believes that truth is whatever you want it to be, okay, which is very common in spirituality and consciousness. Well, it's my truth, right? Okay, those are fine, right? But what we work on and we work in are the truths that are true whether you believe them or not.
Ooh.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's so good, you guys. This structure is so sustainable, it's so solid in light that you don't need to do all these mechanics and, protocols and swishing and swapping and clearing and expecting to stay clean forever. It's just, no. No. Yeah. It's you can feel my excitement, John. I love my work. I really do.
Yeah, you do. And it's just you're constantly in that questioning and that sense of adventure and wonder that keeps streaming through you to get to those truths that you don't know that they're truths.
Exactly.
And you don't believe that they are, but it's the being willing to have the relationship and playing tennis, volleying back and forth with what's coming through. something that's been coming through for me, Jill, lately. And it's a different energetic of the term of the word. But I've come to understand now that in these times we're being called to impeccability, being impeccable with how we want to meet that which we're asking for. So we're asking the divine to be impeccable with us. How are we willing to show up on our side in impeccability to match the energy of that which we're asking for?
Oh, we have a very different view about that. So I haven't.
I know what if.
Yeah, yep. I haven't read, is it Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements, but I know it's very popular. And I have heard people talk about this notion about it's important to be impeccable with your word. And
I think there's an egoic impeccable.
Okay, that's fair. Okay.
And I think there's an impeccability in matching and the energy of that, what you're requesting to be in.
Okay. There's still an easier way. Okay. Because that's a very high standard to set from within these structures. So in all the way that our structures and our thoughts and all these things are divine and sacred in all these ways, it is, as we all know, it's so easy to get distorted, right? So to set ourselves to a standards of any version of impeccability leaves out the reason that there's grace available for us from God, from Source. It's necessary for this reality. So yeah. I'm so willing to receive the grace when I get something wrong. Grace for myself, right? Okay, I did that wrong, or I got that wrong. I've done that even in my journey when I was all excited about, what was it? Not law of attraction, because I never really got excited about that, but I knew there was something about it that I didn't like, and I didn't know why. Yeah, and I said to my team finally, I said, what is it about this law of attraction? I don't like it. And then Metatron said, is it because you're not magnets? And I was like, yes, that's it. We're not magnets. And then I had an awesome giggle, right? Because I had been talking about, well, what are you attracting? And all these things. And then I'm like, but we're not magnets. We're creator energy. So, how does that shift everything that I think of then? But this option that we have for doing the best we can with what we know, holding ourselves accountable, being willing to say, I thought this was true, but now I'm not so sure. I'm in the midst of questioning something. But when I, even as teachers or something, when I get it, maybe we can work on it together. Let's do a call, starting to question this. Is anyone else questioning this? Do it. And there's just so many ways to act authentically alongside our wisdom and what we do know, without feeling the necessity that we need to know everything. Because
I think the impeccability part in the translation
tell me.
Is impeccable with our awareness of our asking. So we can be impeccable in knowing that we're not always right. We be impeccable in our innocence. We be impeccable on adjusting our truth as new truths get presented.
Yeah.
And really being on this wave of calibration that is an authentic expression rather than egoic reaching for.
Okay. I totally agree with you. I like it because, and said another way, I think what you're saying also is that if we set our standards high enough, which we should, for the light that we are, we will get better results.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then I did notice a little chat earlier. Somebody said, what does she mean by that? And I think it was right after I said the truths that are true, whether you believe them or not. Can we go a little deeper on that, John?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I remember feeling into and kind of trying on the belief system that right and wrong were a relative thing. And that I could have a right and wrong and somebody else could have a different right and wrong. And for some things in this reality that works. But I think everyone here would agree that there are some things that are always wrong. Okay? It's always wrong to torture. It's always wrong to murder, right? And that doesn't mean in our weird human skin and, toddlers running with scissors that never happens here, right? This is a very complex world and we're all in here together, right? So this refreshing idea that there are just some things that are true whether you believe them or agree with them or not, was a huge upgrade for me. And it's still, I know, very uncomfortable for a lot of people because, and thank you, Isis just showed me exactly why. The reason it's uncomfortable for a lot of people is that they're concerned about the oppressive nature of an ultimate authority that could be used against each other or against humanity. And that is not the kind of truths that we're talking about. It's not a manipulated truth that we're talking about. We're talking about the truths that are true, whether you believe them or not, at the source level, which only loves and honors and respects and values and appreciates every single aspect and element of life.
Beautiful, Jill. So wonderfully said. It's so simple.
I'm giving Isis a high five. She saw it. She's like, oh, I know exactly why. They're sensitive about this. I'm like, what is it? What is it? Makes perfect sense.
Wonderful. Again, just these conversations and expansion that takes place, the wiring that gets triggered and turned on.
Yeah.
By the illumination that you bring.
Yeah.
It changes lives. It brings in perspectives and the ripple effects that it has, especially with the professionals who, again, want to bring in their amplitude and their light motions and streaming out for others to benefit from also.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
John, I just, as you were saying that, you activated something as you said it, and I want to make sure there's a understanding of, not like a non-disclosure agreement, but I know, the same person that asked it just said, thank you. You're so welcome. Thank you for asking the question, by the way. For those, I base my interaction with my clients on anonymity, right? I will never I don't say who I'm working with. I don't name drop. I don't say, I'm not braggadocious about my client list. That's not anyone's business. And I feel like that's especially important to say regarding the professional package, because there may be participants that want to be in the practitioner's group coaching session, that want to, interact there and share openly and freely. And some of their clients may be in there, right? So there can be a sense of, I don't know, it would be like a doctor in a waiting room. It's a little uncomfortable, right? So I just my main goal is that the resources here are available to everyone who wants it. So if there is a special circumstance where somebody has, a huge audience, they're a huge name in the business, they may already know me anyway and know this. But for those that they want to do it, but they're just like, I don't know how I would do that when this is something I want to work on behind the doctor's office, not in the waiting room. You know what I mean? I will totally work with you in terms of, maybe we give you like a pseudonym to go by, Crystal Moonlight or something like that in the interaction space, so that you can be free to really, really say what you want to say, ask what you want to ask, engage how you want to engage, and not have to worry about your public persona. Because I just feel that in my shoulders, like some people going, I want to do it, but I can't because it's, I want to make it not weird for you.
Well, and it's really cool though, Joe, because for me, it's like, imagine going to a doctor who got trained in medical school in the 60s, but never took a continuing education class. Never got caught up in anything new, never knew what else was happening.
God.
And people are still going to go see him to have, women are still going to get their exams based on 1960s standards.
Yeah.
And so for all of us, I'm constantly getting sessions. I'm constantly learning from people. I pay for programs.
Yes.
And I get to run the show, so I'm constantly growing and learning. And I pretend to know nothing except what I know, which I don't know. But it's that innocence, and that's what I believe also creates this channel to come in, to receive, and to transmit, because I truly have no agenda, because I'm not coming from, I hold this position of authority and knowing. And so that's how it works for me. And so I welcome those places where I get to learn where it's in resonance for my truth, for my curiosity. So for any of you all that are doing the professional package or considering it, and may have a name out there, I just applaud you for being of those that are not of those teachers. And I don't want to say it in a negative way, but I know of leaders in this space that say, I don't listen to anybody else. I get my direct channel and that's all I get. And wonderful, but you can't help but to be influenced by your environment. So I don't believe that's entirely true either. And so since we are influenced, why do we put ourselves in spaces and environments that add, instead of just siphoning ourselves off to what we believe is the only stimulus for our intellectual capacity that we're transmitting energetically, and really opening it up to receive and to gift. We're free flow instead of a siphon and a compartmentalization that will serve you for a little bit, but it'll put you in the box that it will eventually lock you in, and you'll find it harder to dig yourself out. And it's, again, amazing teachers, amazing way showers that paved the way for us, and I feel them becoming more obsolete as a new wave of transformational leaders take place and are speaking more in resonance. They're hipper with the kids, if you will, energetically, and the growth is happening that much faster. So the true way showers, the true teachers, are the ones that I feel are constantly learning and experimenting and embodying in their own lives. And it comes in many forms. So again, I applaud everybody who's wanting to do that. And even if you don't teach, even if you just do a package, go in deep root, Jill, get your own session, or whoever you're guided to, that you're showing up here. And with that innocence and with that courage to say, I'm willing to change something and grow, it speaks volumes for what you're ready to receive. And you should be very excited. You may be ready to be excited because you're receiving it already, but if not, be excited about what's unfolding in the journey and add fuel to the growth by allowing that love and that anticipation of what's coming and joy to really guide you along the way. It's so wonderful, Jill. And again, Jill, with that excitement, again, I want to tell everybody the special offer, again, 2 packages to choose from, both include private readings with Jill. Check out the special offer by clicking on the special offer button or by going to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Jill21. And it's going to take a little while for the video to render, but we'll get the video up as soon as it's finished rendering. I'm hoping at the most 2 hours. But again, sometimes we can't control it, but we'll have the replay up as quickly as we can. And we'll send an email with a link so you can come back and listen again. Or you can catch the replay by going to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/replay. Jill, I have a feeling there's some parting words that are coming through.
Always. Isis just said always. Yeah. Okay, then I'll let her say it. Our favorite way of interacting with each of you is as the masterful, whole, and complete light that you are. It's always an honor and a privilege to interact with you as the peer that we know you to be. It's activating for you. It's exciting to a lot of you because you've always taken yourself seriously, some of you, and it's just refreshing to finally being taken seriously. We have so much love and respect and honor for you, exactly as you are. We're not hoping that you grow into something that you're not. We love exactly what and who you are now. And by helping you see that, guess what happens? Your light within increases. Your sense of grace and ease and abundance and joy and flexibility and humor increases. It's a wonderful system. We can't wait to show you more. And it's an honor to be with you right now. Thank you so much for being here and participating so far in this conversation.
Thank you so much.
She's
Jill,
so graceful. I just love her.
Yeah, you can just feel it streaming through. Jill, thank you so much. It's been, again, always an enlightening conversation.
Thank you,
always lifts and expands, like we started the call. I knew that was going to be the case, and it's always that and so much more. So just thank you for who you be and who you dare to be and who you aspire to be and who you show others that they can be as well.
Thank you.
Together. Yes. And for everybody in the call, thank you all for who you be, for who you aspire to be, and who you keep learning that you be. You're an inspiration as well. And it's with that I bow to each and every one of you. Namaste. And it's with that I send y'all all my love, a huge hug, and look forward to seeing you on our next call. Have a great evening.